All right, please be joined this time by Coach Owens at Dutchtown. Coach, man, you guys had a great year this year. Excited to hear what you got to say.
Hey, definitely, coach, and Jordan. I'm glad to be here. Glad to get this opportunity, man. I heard so much about you, and this is just a wonderful opportunity for myself to, get a chance to be on with you.
Man, I appreciate you. You guys had such a good season and really followed you guys the whole year. Really impressed with what you're able to do. So I'm excited to hear it. I'm gonna shut up and let people want to hear you, not me, man. So let's get at it. Talk some air raid.
All right. All right. So what I got is busting. Um, understanding uh understanding personalizing the air raid to fit your personnel. All right, again, as Coach I said, I'm the offensive coordinator at Dutchtown High School. And go through this and first, get to know a little bit more about me. Um, here, all right, pre-snap read. My teaching and coaching career spans over 17 years. I first got my start at Middle Creek. I was the interim head coach there and broke the longest streak at the time. Moved on from there to Arabia Mountain, helped open up that school there. Had the third ranked offense in the county. Coach Brashard Perriman, who was the eventual first round draft pick, first player from the program to sign a college scholarship actually. Left Arabia Mountain after 3 years and went on to also new program at the time. Pretty much was Langston Hughes. Took a step back and was the offensive line coach there. I got married and moved out to Clayton County, so I just kind of needed something closer than going out to Gwinnett. So as I was there, I was a part of first winning season, second round playoff appearance, first region title, and look at them now. But like I said, there I was the offensive line coach and paid away for the first 1,700-yard rusher there. Got a chance to be an OC right after that season, so went to Riverdale where we averaged 26 points a game and developed the all-county selection at wide receiver and offensive line. Met at that point, I met who's now my mentor, Brian Love. He brought me on at Westlake. I was the OC at Westlake from 2014 to 2016. While I was there, helped win the first ever region title in 6A. We also captured back-to-back region titles in 2014, 2015. Scored the most points in playoffs in Georgia. Highest classification was 76. And at that time, we had the single season record for 478 points and averaged 38 points a game. I followed Coach Love down in Lamar County, where actually my wife is from. Down there, we earned region runner up and produced 4 all-region players on the offense side of the ball. You know, I followed him again up to Woodland in Henry County. Had offensive shattered some school records, 413 passing yards in a game, most TD receptions by a player in the game. Left there, went to Griffin, 18-7. Mark there's the offense coordinator. Quarterfinals and Sweet 16 appearance, produced over 8,400 yards and 46 touchdowns, averaged nearly 40 points a game in 2019. That then led me, still there, had the opportunity to produce the quarterback who's the region offensive player of the year. With a running back at the same time that had over 1,400 yards. So we kind of get into that, in what we're talking about today. I had 5 players that was named to the all region, 11 offensive starters that relate named all region. Um, I had 4 different wide receivers that tallied over 600 yards receiving. Moved on to Dutchtown, where I am currently. This year, we semifinals appearance with a 12-2 record with freshman quarterback, Region 2, 5A, region champions. Developed the region offensive player of the year again this year. It was with the running back. All right. Broke the school record for most points scored in the game with 66. And Parker Resources 5A offensive coordinator of the year, probably the most prized position on here. Now, getting
Well
on into
deserved, Coach.
this, getting on to the meat of this. All right. Check with me. All right. So many people say, what is the air raid? All right. And many people say it's just this extremely pass-heavy offense with the running game consisting of very few plays. I'm going to bust that myth. There have been good run game air raid teams. That rationale, think about it like a running game such as the wing T, where you set plays up to open up other holes, and the plays in general look pretty similar and complement each other. Well, all I do is we translate that to the passing game. It's the same thing. The air raid is known for having concept passes where everyone runs and sticks to a call route, and the quarterback goes through a progression to find his target. So therefore, the air raid creates a conceptual system that can be adapted according to the personnel of their team. It's a way to create and accommodate for a lack of quote unquote star players by replacing raw talent and matchups with consistent technique and execution. So let's get into a little bit more of this. All right, so this is what we call unsportsmanlike conduct. All right, the myth. The air raid is a gimmicky offense. All right, so the definition of gimmick, it's a noun, an ingenious scheme or device. Myth busted. What's the negative? Ingenious scheme means cleverly and originally devised and well suited to its purpose. The purpose on offense is to score. That's no different if you run the wing T, the split back veer, or any other offense. We just go about it differently. Our goals are the same. Our goals in the air raid, we just want to use the whole field. All right. And we want to use all of our skill guys that are on the field. All right. That may be a little different than some others. Our strategy with doing that is just creating mismatches. Use the deep passing game, the quick passing game, and the screen game. And yes, running the football. All right, challenge. All right, so right here we throw the challenge flag. All right, the next myth. You can't be balanced in the air raid. Myth busted. It depends on your definition of balance within your offense. Most only care about run pass distribution. Air raid, our focus is a little bit different. All right, our focus is more on positional distribution. So this particular chart is from the late great Mike Leach, rest his soul. This is a chart that he had up, and this is how he sees it as positional focus. All right, with the X and the Z being your outside receivers, your H and Y's being your slot, and your F being your running back. All right, and related to your touches and your yardage. All right, and you want to kind of keep the touches distributed throughout and then getting production out of that. So we'll go into some stats of mine. All right, so here, the same thing again, so you can't be balanced. So here, all right, the first one at the top is, this screen here is when I was at Griffin, okay? This is, at the top is our rusher. All right, so that's Elijah King, 1,400 yards rushing that season. All right, but as you can see at the bottom, these are the receivers, okay? And you see the receptions. We had 62, 40, 43, and 23. All pretty close. All right, same thing with the yardage. All right, 800 yards, 700 yards, 600 yards, 200 yards, and that was from the F. Our H was a youngin at the time who played the H, and he had 185 yards. So we're, in that sense, we're balanced. You know, we're getting production from everyone that's on the field. To us, that's balanced football. Now, this year looked a little bit different. This is at Dutchtown this past season. All right. As you can see, we were a little run heavy at the top. All right. We had 4 different Fs up there. But if you look at the carries, number one being the first guy up there, the Jay Bean, that was our offensive player of the year this year for the region. All right, he had 188 carries. But if you notice all the other running backs, their carries pretty close together. All right. And their yardage is about the same. Now, if we go down to the receivers in the air raid offense, they're also pretty close. All right, you have 27. All right, by outside receiver. Our slot receiver had 25, and then we had 2 X's. One of them played a little bit more defense, so we use 2 to make 1. They're at 16 if you put them together. And then you have the other slot, the Y, who's at 11. They're all pretty close together, which to us in the air raid, again, we're balanced. All right, and this isn't by chance. From the booth, we chart our touches for our skill guys, our skill position starters, and the key rotational guys. All those guys, I create a sheet before the game. I give it to my guy in the booth, and we chart touches. All right, we want to make sure everybody's getting touches, and they're pretty close. Now, there's going to be some games where one guy may get off and another guy won't, and the next game it may switch. But we do chart our touches, and that's how we're balanced in the air raid. And if I'm going too fast, let me know.
Yeah,
All right.
that's good, Coach. Keep going.
All right, here we go. We all hear this. Defense get hot. All right, myth. Defense wins championships, and your defense will be bad with the air raid offense. I'm sure we all heard it. If you got an air raid offense, your defense is awful. Myth busted. This is more about your emphasis on defense and your defensive staff than the offensive system that's being ran. Our defense has given up 14 points a game. This year, 10 points per game, and ranked number 2 behind eventual state champions, Ware County. All right. But our defensive guys, our defensive coaches, they get after it. There's an emphasis on defense. Just because we run the air raid and we're moving fast and things like that, that doesn't mean the defense has to suffer from it if you have an emphasis on defense. It's about your coaching and your emphasis, not the offensive system. Myth busted. All right, so continuing with that, all right, the one thing that the air raid can allow you to do is it can allow you to have a really, really, really good defense. And it does so because you're able to load up your defense with some of your best players, all right? I know I helped install the offense early on, and that's where I learned it from. Bob Spire at North Gwinnett, he was helping someone that was taking over at Shiloh, and him and Mo, they were putting all the studs on defense and taking everything else and put it on offense, and was having success. And that's what the air raid allows you to do. You can take just an accurate quarterback, any size, skill guys, undersized old linemen, and be an experienced success. You don't have to win by scores of 59 to 54. You just got to score more points than your opponent. Tripping. Myth. Teaching the air raid to my players is just too difficult. I can't handle it. It's just too difficult. All right. Myth busted. The air raid is built on simplicity. All right. Everything is simple with the air raid. All right. And it does so by supports your players and your coaches. Your coaches can focus more on coaching their position, fundamentals, opposed to the scheme. All right. Because things don't really change with air raid. We're going to do what we do. Players are what they are. So they get to focus more on the fundamentals of things. Players get to play fast between the whistle while thinking less. A critical note, your quarterback is key. Not because he has to be a gunslinger. He just needs to be accurate. But he's you on the field as the offense coordinator. He's you. I once heard a coach say, you can either try to teach all 11 players how to run the offense, or you can teach your quarterback and give the other 10 the answers. All right. And in the air raid, that's what I live by. I'm going to give the other 10 the answers. And here's how I do that. All right. So again, this continue again with myth being that the air raid is just too difficult to teach my players. All right. Personal perspective. My quarterback knows his 13 passing progressions. That's all he has. Couple screens and the run game. He's the only one that really knows those things. For everyone else, I'll give them the answer to the test. All right, if you see me, their wristbands tell them specifically. All right, the one on my left, you can see at the top left corner of it has Q. That's for my quarterback. So you can see some of the progressions there, 90 series, 91, 92, so forth, so on. All right, that's what my quarterback sees. But on the wristband on the right, and you see the top left is my X. This is what he sees on his wristband, which is different than the Y, the Z, the H, anybody else's. So it tells him he's running a 10-yard post. He doesn't have to think. He doesn't have to do remember, all I need him to do is know what a 10-yard post is. He's running the go on the numbers on grade 2. All right. People that's familiar with the mesh, that's what we got in the black. He's running the mush. He's the under route. All right. So it's telling him specifically what to do. So he doesn't have to think. All right. He's able to just play fast. So myth busted. All right. So here we're going to call it a little audible. All right. I don't have the personnel to run the air raid. All right. Myth busted. Whether you're running the air raid, the wing tee, it all comes down to players and how they fit your offense. Air raiders like the offensive ability to adapt to fit the players who are on the offense. As I said earlier, the quarterback actually is really the only necessity. If he's a gunslinger, dual threat, those things are pluses. All right. You just need him to be accurate. Running back, thunder, lightning, both of them can work and can do it at the same time. All right. And we did a lot of that this year. Receivers, they just need to be able to catch. And the thing with that, well, I don't have a lot of guys that can catch. Just like they say, there's an app for that. There's drills to support that. All right. Height, speed, that's a plus. All right. As long as you can catch the football, we can make it happen. O-line, you just have to want to. That's the biggest thing with the O-line. Doesn't matter about the size. Just have to want to. So again, if you have players out there, you have the personnel to run the air raid. Myth busted. Personal foul. Here, myth. You can't run the air raid when it's raining or when it's cold. Myth busted. When it's raining and or cold, contrary to popular belief, it's not just cold for the team that's running the air raid. It's cold for the other team that's running the wing tee. It's cold for the team that's running the split back veer, lining up in the eye, pole cat, whatever it is. It's cold and rainy for them too. It's just about how you prepare for it, regardless of the offense that you're running. All right. So what we do, we practice in the elements. If it's not thundering and lightning, it's raining, we practice in it. We do ball security drills every day, whether it's raining or not. That's just part of it, which I'm sure other people do as well. We do work wet ball drills. Center snap wet balls, quarterbacks catch wet balls, quarterbacks throw wet balls, running backs run with them, receivers catch them. We dress appropriately for the weather. If it's going to be cold, we don't allow most of our receivers or guys that's carrying the ball to wear sleeves. All right. Same thing that people do in wing tee. You don't want the ball rubbing against you and slip out. It's no different. All right. Now, that doesn't mean, again, you can't run the ball and things like that. But just because you run the air raid and it's cold out there and it's raining, it does not matter. Myth busted. Take a knee. Conclusion. Is the air raid right for me? At the end of the day, coaching is the key to any scheme being successful. The air raid offense is a great way to move the ball down the field quickly and efficiently. If you fall behind in the game, you'll have the offense that can score in seconds and a team full of enthusiastic, energetic, and engaged players. Ball game. If you want to contact me, talk about air raid or just offense in general. I can do everything. Watch videos, whatever it may be. This is my email, Twitter. I'm very, very I use Twitter a whole lot, whether it's with recruiting, whatever it may be. If you need help with that, how to set up, your recruiting prospect sheet that may link a lot of things to it using Google Sheets. I do a lot of that, but I just like talking ball, man.
Coach, that was great. I had my mic muted, so I didn't interrupt, but I actually laughed out loud when you said it rained for both teams. I get so tired of people acting like it only rains on one sideline or it only cold on one sideline or it only, whatever it
Right,
is, it's the same for both teams. If you got to play
right,
on Thursday, well, both teams got to play on Thursday, not just one. So,
right.
whatever
That's one of the biggest ones, Coach. Like all the time, like I get it, but at the same time, like they got to hand the ball off. Like there's still ball security. There's issues
yeah.
with it, regardless. If you run the option, you got to pitch it.
You see more and more people throwing the ball, period, regardless of what they run. But There was a time, and it wasn't that long ago, where in Georgia, particularly, you just saw very few teams really throwing the ball, really committed to
Right,
throwing the ball, compared to other states. We were a little later to that. Now you see it all the time. But,
right,
people, I think there was a myth of people thinking they needed bigger linemen or better athletes or something.
right,
And it actually was kind of the opposite. I found that we actually were needed the bigger athletes to run the ball. In
right.
like the I or the wing T, like we spread them out, we could run the ball spread out, and
That's
so
it.
I
And
mean,
there's just a lot of things if you really dig down into it. And like I say, being an air raid, man, at the end of the day, Phil Longo says it all the time. You're gonna take what the defense gives you. All right, like I'm not saying you have to go out there and throw the ball 40, 50 times a game. There may be a week where we're gonna run it 40 times a game. And we may come back the next week and throw it 40 times a game. At the end of the day, being a good coach is about offensive coach is about taking what the defense gives you. And the thing about the air raid is it allows us to be able to do both. It allows us to, we will run the ball. We inside zone power, whatever. It allows us to do that. But if we get behind or whatever, we know how to throw the ball. And I have nothing against the wing T or any of those other offenses. Is as long as I just feel like you need to prepare both ways. Doesn't
right.
mean you have to do it, but a lot of times where teams get in trouble is because they don't practice throwing. They happen to get behind by 2 touchdowns, they're in
I
trouble
don't.
because they don't practice it.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with any of them. And here's the issue: the wing T coach or a wishbone coach, or they were innovative at one point, meaning they were the offense that people were saying was dumb or new, or you know
Right,
what I mean? Like there was a
right.
time when the game just kind of evolves, and you got to evolve with it. Put your kids in the best situation to win. That's what you're trying to do on offense. We got a question, coach, regarding dressing appropriately. Do you have your wide receivers, running backs, player practice without gloves in preparation of the rain?
We do. We do. When it rains, they all automatic. We don't have to say a word. If it's sprinkling, the gloves come off. We don't allow gloves when it's raining.
A rain in practice can actually be very useful. I tell you what, I got older, I didn't like it that much, but I just didn't
Yeah,
want to be out there. But it was
right.
it
That's
was
the
helpful
biggest
for the
thing. But like
kids.
I said, we practice it. Like I said, until it starts thunder and lightning, we'll get it in. And at least offense, like we may go in for the defense period, but offense, we're going to do it because you got to be prepared for it.
Do you find that it's easier? In what my experience was when it rained, I thought throwing the ball was actually sometimes easier because we knew where we were going and they didn't. And
Right.
we were actually both teams going to slip. Is what I'm saying. Both teams are going to have issues if you could keep the ball dry with the guys on the sideline or whatever.
Your kitty
You could,
litter, your towels, all those
yeah.
things, right?
But now
And
now
I
really
agree with you.
cold was kind of different. But I thought rain kind of sometimes if we played our cards right, we could get more open, on
Right.
the
And
post or
especially if you're utilizing your quick game and things like that. On your quick
correct.
games and your screens, which is, extending handoffs to me. And even with the cold weather, because it's catching, go ahead and catch and get it out. I'm not trying to make you sit there and hold the ball forever. Go and get it out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so the truth is a lot of excuse making on both sides of all this. I mean,
That's
you
it.
got you
You're
got to
right.
get 10 yards to get a first down. You got to put the ball in the end zone. Whatever your best way to do it is. But I love the format, coach. I thought it was great. And look, you guys made the Final Four. I saw it with my own two eyes.
Yeah.
So it worked. Man, I appreciate you taking some time to do this. Look forward to keeping in touch with you and seeing your name on some more of them awards.
Yes, sir, man. I definitely appreciate it, man.
Yeah, if I can ever help you, let me know, really, anytime.
Thank you, Coach.
Take care.
All right, now you too.